All right, what I want to go over is tools that you use for cutting and chopping with. Before I go over any of these things, what I want to tell you is all of your tools that you can use that have an edge need to be sharpened. You need to know how to sharpen, practice, and keep everything as razor sharp as possible. The duller it is, the more work it causes you. And in a survival situation, you don't know how much energy you're going to need to finish and survive at the end of it. So take the time to keep everything sharp. Now, I'm going to start over here to my left. Saws. Most people don't think about saws. Curved saws, okay? Both of these have curved edges. This has a handle, it is stronger for pulling and pushing than this is straight, but they're both curved. You need curved edges so it will cut better. The straighter the edge is, the harder it is to cut through. These will cut through faster stuff than a straight edge will be. There's plenty of things that you need to work with out in the wilderness, and your saw will do more of that work than your cutting tools will. Saws are important. There's no one tool that does everything for you. So I'll start with the small ones down here. These are ones that I carry on my belt almost all the time in different configurations. This one has a sharper point, so different times I use it. When I decide I need to get in and do stuff, I need this little tiny edge. This is the knife I carry. When I need something that can cut with this cutting edge right here, I carry this. These are my everyday carry tools, okay? These two are my next longer ones. They feel good in my hand. I like the way they work, but they have different things, like I'm skinning an animal, I'm gutting fish. Both these work good for that. If I'm carving stuff up, making the ends of sticks to put a point on them to make a spear, or whatever I'm doing, a stake into the ground, these work really well for it. I can control it. Okay, same thing I talked about on this one for fine stuff, because it's small, got a small narrow edge on it. You got to be careful. It's not that strong, but it will cut things really good. Next, when you're cutting, using your tools to cut and chop with, they need to be in a certain way that it's built so it does the work, not you. You have to save energy. This is my cutting edge. This is where I need the tool to do the work, right here, okay? I love these designs because this enables me to have the meat and heaviness of the blade do most of the work. The other thing that I do that you will not see with my hand because it's so fast, when I chop, I take my fingers, my hands are open like this, but when I bring the knife down, you will never see it happening up so fast. I close my fingers. It gives it extra energy when I'm chopping. This is another design. I love this. This chops really well. I can't stab things good with it to defend myself like an animal, like I can with these type of blades on it, but it's really good for chopping. You can chop all kinds of stuff real quick, get branches out of the way, chop stuff up for firewood. You can also split with this. I don't carry anything of the larger blades under 10 inches so that I can actually use a piece of wood and split wood with it faster and easier than I can with one of these hatchets, not an axe. All right, here's another version. These Hansu ones, and this has got a pointed edge. It's got the same thickness down here. When I use it, it does most of the work. Okay, this is a heavy duty one here, real heavy duty. This thing is really strong and heavy. So to carry this and do this, I would probably carry a lighter hatchet similar to this, because this is going to do most of my cutting and chopping. To cut down on my weight, I would probably carry a smaller hatchet like this with it. The steel goes all the way down, a full shaft on it, so I can pound with it. You can't pound with a knife, but you can with a hatchet. In the United States, we're one of the countries that developed the knife and the hatchet. Most countries have multiple knives, but they don't really pound. The United States is a little different. There's a utility tool that I use. There's many types that I have. This is one of my favorites. Push button loads by SOG. The main thing I use is the pliers. The other thing is not the blade. I don't use a blade. I use the file. If I had my way, instead of a blade, I'd have the file, and then this would be a small saw blade. I have my other knives. I don't need this to also have a blade. To me, it's useless in my opinion. Now, here's another smaller axe that's light. It can protect its own edge, made by marble, folds back down, and I can use it. It's a larger, heavier. I can pound with it. I can stick it through my belt if I didn't have an actual carrier for it, and there it is. It's hooked to my belt, and the blade is protected. Now, the Viking style, this is one of my favorites by DMD. I can bring my hand in close. This is razor sharp. I can actually gut skin animals with it. I can chop with it. I love this thing because I can come in close and I can pound with it. The only disadvantage with this tool is this is a nice thin sharp blade. This is razor sharp. When you're cutting stuff that's dead and really hard, it can actually bend the blade. The CRKT is one of my favorites for that. It's stronger. It's not going to bend or damage the blade with it. I can still get in and do stuff. It's not as fine an edge as the other one, but I can still do a lot of work. I protect the end, both ends where my fingers go up close so when you're chopping wood, it doesn't tear it up. But in addition to this one, I put this on here so that I have a good grip with my hand when I'm chopping with it. I do the same technique. My fingers come like this. I make the tool do the work. I put as little effort as possible as I can into my tools. These tools are east wing. This is larger, this is smaller. The advantage is it's steel. I can move stuff around that's hot in the fire, doing different work with heated stuff, and these won't burn. That's one of the advantages of them. They have small chopping edges, so they're not really good for splitting, but they're good for chopping. This is nice and heavy duty. I'd probably just carry this one. This one will do an excellent job. This is a little bit heavier, depends what you want to do. Over here I have wooden ones. My father was a believer in the wooden hatchets and axes because you could always rebuild the handle if it broke. If you'll notice on here, I have screws put in the sides so that it doesn't move in here. So this is nice and solid. It has a good small balance. This one and this one I can chop with and do small work with it. Not as good as I can with those Viking axes, but I can still work with it. And I can chop with it, and it's small enough it can go into my rucksack and I can actually carry it. This is one of my favorite ones here. It's lighter. Fisker makes it. It also has a splitting edge. If you look here, you can see how it thickens and comes out. It would be the same thing with this hatchet here. These two are chopping, but they're also made for splitting. If you'll notice, you'll fall. I'm going to turn it towards the camera so they can see it. See the wedge shape on these two? This enables you to be able to split wood. They're fantastic for splitting, where the other ones are good for chopping, but not good for splitting. These are razor sharp, and they'll cut, chop, and split. So every tool is designed for a different purpose. What you have to figure out, like anything else I talk about, is what do I know how to use? What's the environment I'm going to use it for? And then pick your tools. Not one tool does everything here. There's multiple tools because there's multiple uses that they have. So fit the tools for what you want to do. Saws are always, you should have saws. You should always have some type of utility tool. You should always have some type of small knife, and then you need a larger knife. No smaller than 10 inches on you, because you can do a lot of work with it. Then your hatchets or your axes, fit those for your need. These two are the two that goes on my belt with my pistol when I'm in the woods. These are the two that I carry right here. I can do a ton of my work with it, but if something calls for something different, I'll call on another blade or another type of hatchet to fit that need. I don't make it fit what I need it to do. I take the tools that fit the job I want to do. You've got to remember that. In a survival situation, what you have to do is conserve your energy. If you overwork yourself with your tools, you're not going to have the energy to survive when you need it down the road. Now, I've covered these cutting edges for you. There's more detail you can go into if you come to schools and go to them that I'm not going to cover here. So if you have any comments at the bottom of this, you can call in your comments, and I'll be happy to answer for you. I thank you very much.
If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss out on anything.